what do we as humans love? We want to be heard. We want to be seen. We want to be validated. Show me a dog that doesn't give you that. And that's why people are always like, oh, hi, before they'll even acknowledge you if you had the dog. Because they know they're going to get validated from that dog, maybe not the owner.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Evolve Your Brand podcast. I'm your host, Liam Merkees, and just want to give a huge shout out to Icon Industries. Shane times 3, because you love yourself that much. You have to go hire 2 more people with your name. Steven, we named the eel after you so you didn't feel lonely. Appreciate you, brother. And everybody else at Icon, without you, we can't do this. Without further ado, my special guest, and there's some cool stories we're going to share. Ryan Matthews, World of Dog Training. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, man.
Happy to be here. No, I appreciate you.
I got a little secret to tell you.
Uh-oh.
And I was going to do
how
a
we're
lot
starting
more.
out.
That's how we're starting out, baby. Like, we're not going to give him a break. So I really didn't ask you a lot of questions that we had very superficial conversation. I wanted to get to know you. Do you know how come? Because I really want to get to know you, and I wanted to save it for the podcast.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Because this is we've run into each other, and I'm like, when you run into each other, something's meant to be.
100%, yeah. So
this is all about the Brian show, and you're like, dude, I've lived a lot of shit.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear how Ryan's story begins. So where were you born? How did you grow up, and what started it all for you?
Well, first of all, I'm thankful for the opportunity. But it's not the Ryan show, man. For me, I like to be boldly vulnerable for the sake of helping others. It's not about me. I view myself as just a messenger in different ways, especially with, dog behavior and psychology to transform the lives of dogs and people. But I'm just the messenger, man. So it's not about me. I'm just here to share a message that I generally hope will help other people. But with that, how it all started was, where
were you born?
I was born in Huntington Beach, California.
Okay, let's go.
And parents, I think I don't know for sure, but I think they got married because they had me.
Okay.
Which it happens, right? Not so much, I don't think now as much, but yeah, I think that's what happened. And so I'm a big believer in getting divorced if that shit doesn't work out, because they were trying to stay together, right? Because that's what you do. But who wants to be around all this crazy arguing and all this bullshit, right? I'm like, so you think staying together and creating all this dysfunction is healthy versus a healthy separation, right? And having peace. I think to me, that would be a lot healthier than seeing, oh, this is what love is. Oh, love is all this crazy dysfunction. So that was kind of my experience for the first 5 years of my life. Then parents got divorced, and I bounced around a little bit. And then, kind of average-ish upbringing.
What was your fondest memory growing up in Huntington Beach?
I love the question, man. And the thing of it is, off air, we talked about a memory, but the piece of it, when I share that, is you may think that, oh, well, there's a lot, but I don't really remember much from childhood. So the fact that I was able to bring up this memory of the horse and how that was a positive experience when I was 3 or 4, other than that, man, I don't have many memories except for we had an apartment. I remember being in the sleeping bag and going down the carpeted stairs like it was,
let's go.
a snow bobsled or whatever that thing's called.
You were watching Cool Running.
Yeah. Yeah, man. But I don't really have a lot of memories from childhood. Probably block it out from a trauma. I mean, I kind of remember seeing a lot of adults laid out on the floor, from parties. I remember handing a J between one adult to the other. I remember waking up early, people all passed out wherever. I remember seeing alcohol or beer or whatever on the table. I remember grabbing it, picking it up, and just experimenting with what it was.
And how old were you then?
Bro, I don't know, 6 or younger.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
You remember that kind of stuff. And What did your childhood teach you? Now that you reflect back on it, you're like, if I had to look at it again, this is what I learned.
Never been asked that. So if I had to reflect back on childhood and what did it mean to me? I think that what defines us is the moment that we're in. Like, our childhood doesn't define us unless we allow it to. It's the meaning we give behind it. And so I think what's so interesting about life is, like, we truly have choice. Like, right now in this moment, like, what are we going to choose? But we want to hold on to, like, the habit or the dialogue or the narrative or the yada yada, the story, so that we can keep in this perpetual cycle of fuckery or whatever it is.
Shit.
Versus just making the decision and having this discipline. And so I think that, yeah, for me, the childhood is irrelevant because it doesn't fully serve me if I want to hold on to it too much.
Yeah. See, and I was curious where you're going to go, because you talked about trauma, and I can relate with some of that. Like, you're talking about the partying, and my dad was a big, like, it was all about the social, like, you got to do the parties. And it's like, you're a kid, you remember that? You're like, it's probably not right. Like, I should probably not do this. So it's funny that you brought that up, because I'm like, what stands out? Because you also had a beautiful moment that had to do with what you do, what your life's passion is.
Yep. Working with animals, yeah.
Yeah, talk about, like, that experience with your mom when you were 3.
Well, this was recent. I literally just landed last night.
That's so fucking cool.
Yeah, I just landed last night, got back from Houston, a trip for a client. And on this trip, my mom lives close to my client out in Houston area. And so I was able to see her, which is cool.
Oh, your mom's in Texas.
Yeah.
I thought your mom was with you in Huntington Beach.
Growing up, yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but she moved to Texas. So
who's not?
Yeah. Oh man. For good reason. It's
gonna be. They're gonna change the name to, like, Cali, Texas, or something.
Caltex.
Caltex. That's good. That's good.
So, anyways, I was talking about that, and I don't remember how it came up, but I was like, Mom, I remember a horse. Because I just have these little memories of childhood. I will ask her, Mom, what was this about? Like, the other day, I was like, what did we eat growing up?
Yeah.
She's all tacos, fideo. I would make you pozole and this kind of stuff. And I was like, did we have money? She's like, sometimes, like, she's like, not really. So, like, what we ate would depend on how much money we had or whatever. And she's like, beans, rice. Anyways.
Staples.
Yeah. So anyways, I was like, what was the thing about this horse? How old was I? How did it happen? She's like, what was your birthday? And she's like, it was your 3rd or 4th birthday. And she's like, I just took you to where the people had this horse in Huntington Beach in this really big yard. This was like in 1984 or so. And she said, I just held you there, and the horse came up to us. And I think there was something magical about this majestic creature that feels like kind of scary, especially you're so little. Like, I'm like as tall as up to its knee or whatever, probably. And it comes up and it just stayed with us. And I think she said we gave it some carrots or whatever. But I felt the energy of that animal. And, like, it just stuck with me. So I've always had a love with horses. I'm surprised that I haven't done more work with them.
Right.
But I chose mini horses, dogs, to work with. But yeah, that was a really special moment. And I'm so passionate about horses and energy and healing in that we're actually partnering. I can't say with who, but we're partnering with someone, and we're creating a documentary about the healing of horses on veterans.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm very fascinated by that. I've gotten, I know everybody's into it, but I freaking love Yellowstone.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
You and my grandma.
bro, I'm moving to Montana. Bags are already packed and shit. Like, in horses.
Bittersweet Valley. I did the tour after I heard about the show and I saw it. I'm like, that is gorgeous. Where is that? And then boom, I went.
Okay, I'm jealous. Next time you make plans for Montana, I'm in. It's they talk about these deep rooted connection with the horse. Like, it's just, there's this moment, and he's like, dude, you're just out there. All this showboating at the rodeo means nothing.
Right.
It's just you and a horse out there.
Mm-hmm.
Just you, the horse, and the cow. I'm just getting goosebumps right now as I'm talking about this. And when I saw your TED Talks, and we're not going to go there yet, when you talk about energy and vibe and connection, you mean it. Like you're around you can feel that. It's crazy.
Yep. And I think that's what we're missing. Especially, we're out here in SoCal.
Yeah.
Right?
What are we missing?
We're missing the stillness. We're missing that groundedness. We're missing that energy. We're missing taking our shoes off and being out in that nature, because that's what the horses are doing. That's what the animals are doing, right? They're grounded. And not only that, they're fully present. Like they're dealing with what's in front of them, but we're thinking about what we got to do next and traffic and da, 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 da. And they're just like, what's in front of me right now? And it's just that's why we feel so amazing, because they're fully present with us. And it's magical. And they also operate on a level that, in a dimension that we rarely ever do, unless we go to some retreat or we finally take time for ourselves. But we can access it way more often if we will try it. And I certainly don't have it mastered. I'm still practicing it myself.
Bro, I literally thought you were a dog trainer. You're like a dog trainer therapist.
100%, man.
Like crazy.
That's the next show I want to do.
It really is crazy. Like it blew my mind as I'm watching this thing. And, for you to share that story, I want to get back to your mom. How crazy is it that you asked her about that? Like you had that conversation.
Like 3 days ago.
Isn't that insane? Because I was talking to the boys, I'm like, have you really taken the time to get to know your grandparents' stories? Like what made you decide to talk to your mom and get really curious about how you grew up?
That's so interesting you say that. Last night, like I said, I landed from Houston, but it was my grandma's 92nd birthday. So I took her out for a birthday. And I remember driving home and I said, Grandma, tell me more about when did you come to Cali? Like they were in New York. She's Italian. So of course.
Oh shit. Oh wow. You're a lethal combo.
She's cool, man. My grandma, 92, shout out to my grandmother Dee having her 92nd birthday. You would trip out, man. She's such a SoCal now. She does the fake lashes. She gets the nails done. She
at 92?
Texts, Facebook at 92.
Get it, Grandma?
Still drives. But I asked her, I said, tell me about from New York to Cali.
Okay.
And it was, and this is for your boys, why I'm saying this. It was like time stopped, man. First of all, she's a great storyteller. But second of all, there's something so magical about hearing the old ways in the old days and just, hearing about the elders. So I couldn't agree enough that, even get grandma in here and have the boys do a flow and have it recorded, man. I think that's just so valuable. That would be so beautiful. But I remember the quality of the conversation. It was amazing. She said that they drove and my grandfather built a trailer because he was pretty handy. So they wanted to save money. They didn't have a lot of money. So they had two boys, my dad and my uncle, and then grandma and grandpa, and they drive from New York, Buffalo to Cali, to Compton, right? It wasn't what it is now back then.
Right. It was a different time and place. Yeah. They drove from Rochester. Where were they?
Buffalo. To SoCal.
Freaking north.
Way up there.
All the way to Compton. Like, think about that drive. When was this? Like, when did they move? Did she tell you? Like
1950.
50s.
50-something.
Could you imagine? That's insane.
So they take this, I don't know what they were hauling with. The cars in the 50s and 60s were cool, by the way. So they're hauling like this big old wide body car with this trailer that my grandfather built. And at some point, she said the trailer with all their household goods broke down and they couldn't repair it. So they had to mail everything. It cost way more money to mail everything to Cali and yada, yada. And she was just sharing that also my uncle, he would get car sick at 9 months every single day. So he would throw up every single time on the car ride. Remember, New York to Cali. What does that take? 3 weeks? I didn't ask her. But he's throwing up every day. So you got this baby all messed up, all dirty. And she said that finally when they got to Cali, pulled up to her sister's house, handed my uncle to her, who was 9 months at the time. And she said, I'm going to bed. And that's how she arrived in Cali. But there was something so rich and rewarding in hearing her ways. And I think that, yeah, for your boys, it would be super important to flow, interview, talk, however you want to say it, with their elder, because, man, we got to preserve that culture and all that kind of stuff. I think it's important.
What did you learn about like your family's legacy as she was talking that gave you a different sense of appreciation?
I think the resiliency, like my grandma's really impressive. I think that's part of why she's like never been hospitalized. She's totally healthy, 92 years old. She's never had nothing. And I think it's that she's a simple person, and she stimulates her mind. She reads every day, and I think her secret and her key is moderation, man. Okay. She won't heavily go into any one thing. And so it was more of just like kind of acknowledging her, because my grandfather passed, and his ways were a little unhealthy, like with eating and stuff.
Got it.
But my grandma just very big into moderation. And so that was kind of like one of the biggest things, but they're pretty simple people, I would say, for the most part. My mom's not. She's pretty wild. She's spicy. I'm a spicy Latina, man, with a ghetto side.
Brian, you're a spicy Latina, bro.
Yeah.
And the other side is Italian?
Yeah. It's lots of fire. That's why I'm still single.
Speechless. Wow. That's a lot of fire.
Yeah, man.
I love hearing the story about your grandma, and how can you argue that it works? You said your grandma's name was Dee?
Yeah, Dee.
How do you argue 92 years, she's still driving?
Yeah.
She kept life simple, everything in moderation. How do you take that life advice and not apply it today?
Right.
It's crazy.
And she has this thing about just get the thing done.
Okay.
I forget what it was. We were going to do something, and then I'm like, oh, well, let's just wait. She's like, no, let's get it done now. We got, before we get distracted, yada, yada. So she was I guess for her career, for the most part, she was the principal secretary.
Oh,
and
got
she
it.
Still is that.
Oh, yeah.
So very organized, Post-it notes, file this, and so there's something, there we go. That just came up for me. Sometimes I can get downloads, especially when dogs are around. But what came up was, I lost it. The organization, got it. Her environment is very clean. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. Right now, my house is being renovated because there's some massive mold and stuff. And I was reflecting on that this morning. I'm like, my place is a mess. And I'm like, I feel like a mess inside.
Yeah.
And so my grandma, very neat, very orderly, very organized administratively and all this kind of stuff, clearing the mind. I think there's really something to be said for that. So like the parents that are saying, clean up your room and all this stuff, it's not about telling you what to do. Some of that is clear and clean environment, clear mind. I think there's something there.
There's a video of a general saying that.
Right. Make your bed, right?
Make your bed. It's ironic that you brought up the reading, and you said Dee reads a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I was talking to Luke, my oldest. He's 17, about to be 18, graduates in 63 days from high school. I'm really proud of him.
Yeah.
Well, we're counting because I'm
awesome.
like, dude, when your first kid is about to graduate high school, it's just weird.
Yeah.
It's just weird because I'm like, this is not a kid. He's a man.
Mm-hmm.
He's a man. And I'm like, how do you, we were talking about different parenting styles, and you have your moms that serve a purpose. Like you talked about how impactful your mom is, your grandmother being a staple. I just asked myself, like, what are we doing for the next generation? Like, what am I doing for my kids to set them up for success, not to live their life? Because I don't agree with like how I was brought up, because our opinion didn't matter. It was what our parents wanted for us. And I don't think, for at least the way I grew up, and I don't want to do that for my boys. I want to make sure that they really, really are encouraged to be themselves. At the same exact point, understand their responsibility to the community.
Right.
What are your thoughts about that?
Man, I think community is huge. I think purpose is also huge.
Mm.
I was at an event and I met Jocko, and I was like, you know Jocko, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, Jocko, I'm a combat vet. You know, I've had suicidal ideation, yada, yada. I'm on the other side of it. This is a long time ago. And I was like, how do we reduce this suicide in our veteran community?
Holy shit.
And he said, purpose. And I think for me, part of purpose is also community. And so, yeah, I think that's huge. So that's amazing that you've shown your boys that, and respect for you for doing that, man. Cause I wasn't taught that stuff. So I've had to figure out what it is to be a man and this kind of thing. So I think that's beautiful that they have that foundation and that jumpstart from you to show them that.
Brother, thank you for that. And I grew up like you did with a dad that was more, you know, and God rest his soul. Like I think parenting, I judge my parents less today than I do ever before.
Right. Yeah. That's cool. I bet that's freeing for you, man.
It's enlightening.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit. Like nothing's harder than being a parent.
Huh.
It's the emotion.
Mm.
It's the emotion. Holy shit. A lot of emotion. It's like you're a parent. For your dogs, you're a parent.
Yeah, for Zeus.
I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like,
that's interesting you say that, man, because straight up, for the people listening, your dog's wild. I already know you spoil your kid too, and that kid's wild too. Or vice versa. It's for sure.
No, you did not. Oh, shit. Really?
I mean, let's go ahead and like do a blind study. I'll put some money on it.
Yeah.
It's weird, man.
I'm in.
And the reason why is it's people not creating structure, not setting boundaries, not speaking up, not using their voice, not yada, yada. And I find it time and time and time again. If the kids are wild, dog's going to be wild and vice versa, for sure.
I'm just going to keep the audience waiting for the dog stuff to come. Before we get to that, like you served, thank you for your service. How long were you? Like, talk about your experience in the military and.
Man, it feels like a different person ago. It feels like two people ago.
Okay.
It hardly feels
2 people ago.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It's weird, man. Like, I went to Germany as my first duty station. I went to run away. I'll explain why I ran away in a minute. But I mean, like, I went to like Germany and France and Italy and all over, but it all feels kind of like a blur, man. And that's why part of why it feels like a different person ago. So I'm like, okay, cool. Now I need to go do it again as in my 40s, I guess. But I joined the army like most anyone else to get out of drug dealing.
Okay.
I mean, I think that a lot of us that, no offense to anyone listening, but I think a lot of us that joined the army, specifically the army, not necessarily the Air Force, we were a bit of misfit or something was.
Did you just take a shot at the Air Force? What is it with you guys? No. Like, you guys get your kicks on taking shots.
No, I was giving them love.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, I was saying we're misfits as army, and like,
and they're
they are definitely square, and they're going to be smarter than us for the most part. The women are going to be a lot prettier. It's just what it is, man.
I got you.
It's just how it plays out. Again, I'm just generalizing. People, calm down. But yeah, man, I was dealing drugs, small time, not like big time or anything, but I was dealing drugs as a teenager, and my own friend tried to rob me, and I tried to stab the guy. When it happened, I was prepared. I had a knife in this shoe right here in the sock, and I pulled it out and I tried to stab the guy.
How old were you?
I was 17 then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember the moment?
I remember the moment. I may be wrong about the age. I may have been a little bit older. I felt like it happened between junior year and senior year, if I remember correctly, but I absolutely remember the moment.
Okay.
We were going to go to a concert, and I wanted to weigh my stuff on his scale because mine was broken before the concert. So I brought it in the backpack. It was on the passenger seat. And I was driving a Plymouth Sundance, $500 car with a $1,500 sound system in it. Don't get confused. Oh, man.
Those were the Civics? Man. I don't know if those were in the Civics.
Plymouth Sundance.
No. I know you had it decked out, though.
Oh, yeah.
Because at our school, it was the Civics that were all decked out.
Yeah, yeah.
And the stereo system was way more expensive than the actual fucking car.
I got a Civic later.
Of course you did.
But that was down the road, man. That's another part of the story. So I remember he let me into his gate because he had a condo that was gated, and he had to let me in. So he met me downstairs, and it was weird. He came on the passenger side, and I had my backpack on the seat, and I rolled down the window. I was like, what's up, man? I was like, I forget, like, where do I park or whatever. And then he reaches in and grabs it. I put the car in park, and it's weird. I think he was on something, because then he came to the driver's side where I was as I'm getting out. And then he's like, this is for talking shit on me, which he was just making shit up. So then I grabbed him here. I remember like this and getting his clothes. And I was like, I was like, give that shit back, man. And I held it at his stomach, the knife at his stomach. He's like, nah, fuck you, man. And I went to grab it, pulled down, because he had it underneath, pulled down, and but no one ever taught me how to stab someone, hopefully like you too. So when I did it, the knife slid in my hand, man, and I ended up cutting my hand. So my finger was stuck like this because my parents kicked me out of the house eventually, and then I didn't have insurance. So I couldn't do physical therapy, man. So this one stuck like that. So being in the Army, you got to salute like this. It's not a good look. Not a good look, man. So
they're like,
it was rough. Get it?
It was rough.
Yeah, the dog.
It was rough. It was rough. Yeah. Oh, it's rough. This is about to get much rougher. So this shit is going on. Like, what are you thinking the next morning? Like you're
Man,
like,
this hurts.
well, of course, yeah, no insurance.
No, but first, when it happened, I waited 3 days. I remember I was driving somewhere in the back of someone's truck, and it was enclosed. You know, like old school, they had those covers over the toppers over the trucks. I remember I was in the back with the thing all cut up, and I was just like, man, my fucking hand is just throbbing. They're like, man, you got to go in. But I waited 1 or 2 days, but I was scared to go to the hospital or go in because of what happened or whatever. So I remember that. And at some point I got medical attention, and I probably said I cut it on glass and it's cleaning dishes or something. But and the next thing I remember being bandaged, and I remember going to the recruiter station.
Okay.
And I remember going in the Marines, and I was like, hey, I want to learn about how do I become a Marine? I like the uniforms are cool, and you guys seem pretty badass. And then they seemed like robots, man. And so I was like, nah, I don't know, this is for me. So then they're all like right in a row. So I just went to the next one.
Oh shit.
The next one was the Navy. And I was like, I don't know, you don't really seem like you're military too much. I was like, I don't know, man. This doesn't seem like, I'm like 17 or 18 or some shit. I'm like, I could probably fuck you up. So I was like, if I can kick your ass, you're in the military, you're probably not for me.
Okay.
So the next one, I go to the Army, and like, they seemed cool. Like they were cool, but they were confident. And I was like, it felt right. Felt like home. So I was like, hey, look, man. I was like, I don't know what it takes to get in. And I was like, but I'll be real simple with you. I could sign up right away if that's how this works. I just want 2 things from you. I was like, I want to be stationed overseas, and I want to go in as military police. That's all I want. You give me that thing, I could sign up right now if I'm allowed to, or whatever needs to happen. They're like, well, it's a process, yada, yada, yada. Well, sure enough, went through the process, due diligence, all that kind of stuff. Sure enough, I got it. I went overseas to Germany, but the reason I went wasn't to go to Berlin and Oktoberfest and all that stuff.
Right.
Because you can't drink when you're young over there. It was to run away, man. Because that guy called my work and was like, we're going to kill you. We're going to find you. We're going to blow your head off with a shotgun. So I ran away.
Okay. How seriously did you take him?
Pretty serious. I mean, that's why I wanted to join, was legit to run away. He's
like, you didn't think he was, because you said you guys were boys until that point, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we all hung out in the same crew.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
and we would go and steal stuff at like stores together.
Right.
That was, talk about trauma bonding. That was like, we did a few things together solo, but we didn't like know each other's family and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
But no, I took him serious because I know other stories about stuff that him and his people did. And I was just like, I don't play at that level.
I gotcha.
Not in this lifetime. I think before I did.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
We're going to get into that.
Yeah.
That would be like,
so that's what, but then, man, I was like, so why would this drug dealer guy want to be an MP? to stop the ways. Like I didn't know how to get the discipline that I needed. I didn't know how to get the patterns of being addicted and wanting to steal. I didn't know how to get out of my system. So I was like, I'll force myself, be a cop in the military. So that's why I did it.
Where would you come up with this fucking idea where you're gonna like, you know what? Okay, all this shit's going wrong. I just cut myself because I don't know how to cut. I don't know how to use a knife. I don't have insurance. My parents are pretty upset. I should become a cop. Like this is gonna change my life.
They never knew what happened.
Really? Oh
No,
shit.
no, they didn't kick me out for that. They kicked me out because we got into an argument. My stepmom, in my story,
Yeah.
that's important. I like reframe it.
Yeah.
Was that she made my ex-girl, my first love, cry.
Got it.
I'm like, nah, I'm protective of mine. And so I blew it up out of proportion, and I'm also very stubborn. So when she said, get out of the house and never come back, that's what I did. 13 years. Yep. So but had I come to that thinking? I don't know. For me, it's just like common sense. It's like, all right, you want this or you don't want that. How do you reverse engineer it? So I'm like, you're dealing drugs. What's the opposite of doing drugs and all this stuff? Oh, law enforcement. Oh, just go do that.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah. And then
Because there was no YouTube back then. That's why I'm curious.
Oh, right.
Do you know what I mean? It's not like you went to the library. You're like, hey, let me go and watch David Goggins. Let me go watch Jocko to set my life straight. You're coming up with this stuff just based on life experiences.
And you also low-key called me old without calling me old. I love it.
Not at all. We're not old.
I'm
We're experienced in life, bro.
Yeah, we're super wise. But yeah, man, I think it was, for me, I kind of operate on like a bit of simplicity and common sense on stuff. That's how I joined it.
You're Dee's grandson.
Yeah, I'm super grateful for that.
So you go to Germany. How long were you in the army?
I did 6 years. I signed up for 5, did an extra year so I could go overseas. So did the Germany thing. That was really great. But
what was the coolest experience you had in the military that you could share?
Right.
Just gotta.
Oh man, you just took me somewhere else. Germany on a Wednesday night can even be a really good time. Like you wouldn't think. Like Germany was great back
Hump
then.
day?
Yeah, exactly. In the 2000s, I was there in 2000 to 2002.
Was it a rough time?
It was. I'll just say lots of doggy style, if I'm allowed to.
We're having an adult audience. It's fine. We're doing our own version of Super Trooper. Was it a rough time? Oh wow, I can't believe I said that. All right.
Okay, but
so Wednesdays in Germany is a good time.
Yeah. So is Tuesdays. Monday's not bad either. So imagine the weekends. But no, the honestly, man, for me, the best part was the travel.
Okay.
Man, travel lights me up, feeds my soul. Even to this day, I love it. I'm going to Costa Rica on the 12th.
Get the fuck out. My kids are going to Costa Rica on June in 64 days, like a week later. Seriously.
Pura vida.
Oh, have you been before?
I go out very often, yeah.
Okay.
I do some business out there. Yeah, I love Costa Rica.
That's amazing, man.
Let me know off camera if you want to talk or
we'll definitely
resources
talk.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
I need a Ryan in my. I think I gained a new a friend in Ryan. We're bonding over podcasting.
Man, I gotta tell you, like for me, I'm so grateful for this platform that you all have, and many also that do it, because, like we were sharing, like I've done a decent number of interviews, and it's been healing, man. It's been therapy. So like, I'm super grateful for the opportunity to share, because every time you're sharing your story, there's parts of my story that I wasn't able to say without like choking up like hardcore, because there was so much trapped energy, you know? So I'm super grateful for the platform, and I appreciate it, because it truly is healing. I think podcasting can bring people together and save lives, man. There's lots of incredible stories every single day where people are you know, putting down whatever thing that's not serving them and finding another way just from something that they heard and feeling inspired. So I think what you guys are doing is great.
Well, Brian, I want to thank you. Like, this is not easy to sit in that seat, to be super vulnerable, to share all your stuff. And I said, like, we're going to do this differently because when I mentioned this is the Ryan show, you flipped it back on me and said, you know, I'm all about the people that I serve. And I think that's what we're really edifying here is like these are people in your community. Let's support them. Like
Right.
let's not go after these big corporations that monetize everything in our communities. And there's no judgment. Like this is what we live in. It's all good. We also got to share your story. So that way when someone's going to go and get a badass dog trainer, they're like, dude, there's no, I saw Ryan on a podcast, fucking his grandmother is cool as heck. Like let's get him on. I think this is like, thank you for coming on. By the time we're done with this, like, dude, how cool is it somebody can watch you and within an hour know so much about you?
That's part of why I love interviews, man, is because it gives you the opportunity to share with the masses whatever you and I share. And again, it's just about their benefit. It's just about them finding something out of my pain so that they don't have to go through it.
Yeah.
But for me, man, it's honestly not hard at all. Like you were saying, like, oh, sitting in the chair and being vulnerable. I'm like, I think we make too much a big deal out of being vulnerable. Like society, I think really needs to just like get over it.
What do we need to get over?
I think we need to get over like this whole thing of holding back. Like why is it difficult to be vulnerable? What are we hiding from something? Do we not want to feel emotion? Do we not want to connect? Like if we can just get out of our own way and share to help others,
Yeah.
right? Then it makes this stuff that happened, it doesn't have as much power over us.
Absolutely. I'm speechless. I 1000% agree with you. How did you come to that epiphany? Like what has shifted your mindset, your life? Because you didn't always think that way.
No, man.
Right.
No.
So what's changed for you to have that perspective and outlook?
My first TEDx talk.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was involved in some stuff like I was on the news, I was on the newspaper like nationwide. And I was suicidal for a few years after it. And I never shared what happened. You know, I never shared my version of the story. Partially I didn't feel strong enough to do it. Partially because I was getting over chemo. I had chemo going through my body and stuff, you know. I was getting over a heart attack as well at 30, right? And I was just trying to feel healthy or alive as much as I could. So I was silent, man. And then I became suicidal. I took on society's whatever of those haters that didn't know me. I took their stuff on and still mildly live with it now. And so anyways, man, it was the first TEDx talk that I was like, I'm going to share my story on that stage. And that's when I stepped into like being brutally vulnerable, right? And part of it was like, because I was raised not to show emotion. You know, you don't cry. You're going to be a punk. You're a bitch. And the military too. And now I'm like, no, that's a side of me. That doesn't mean the warrior's still not in me, right? That's just a piece. Because I remember too, man, I remember hugging my ex-wife after the war, super cut off from emotion. And I remember hugging her, holding her, and like begging for a feeling. Couldn't feel anything. I was like begging to God. I was like, I'm not going to let go until I feel something. I was just holding her, begging to feel some kind of aliveness, some kind of connection. And she's an amazing woman, and she deserved to feel that. It was just my inability. It wasn't her lack of anything. And I'm like, so from there, I'm super comfortable having a variety of emotions because I'm fucking alive. And before I was dead inside. And so that's why for me, the vulnerability, it's like, nah, it means I'm fucking alive.
You busted your ass to get comfortable with that. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And you've never shared that?
No, I shared versions of that.
Yeah. But not what. As you were getting ready for that TED Talk, what was going through? I mean, I can't even imagine that day for you. What was it like?
Well, I was new to public speaking then. And so for me, it started to get into performance because remember, I'm Dee's grandson. And so it ended up being an 18-minute speech, memorized word for word. Now, I'm not the sharpest guy. I did
Okay.
use a little bit of the stuff I was selling, and it
Yeah.
may have caught up with me. I don't know. And so for me, memory, and then combat too. So sometimes memory issues or whatever. And so for me, it just became about, yes, sharing the story. But when you're practicing for a speech, it almost becomes performance. And that's one of my flaws when I do speaking is I become like a preacher guy and like whatever.
Okay.
But I was so focused on just getting all the words because before that I did this a while ago. I was doing like a speech competition and I forgot my speech and that fucked me up. And so I was traumatized. I'm like, don't forget your lines. Don't forget your lines.
Got it.
So then I felt I was almost disconnected from it, the speech, until I was on stage and I'm like scanning the audience, finding my person that's really connecting with them, delivering my message, scanning, connect, deliver. Then I was right there. I was in it. I was feeling it. It was coming from my heart and that vulnerability. But when I was first practicing, because I'm not the sharpest guy, man, I just spent like almost every single waking moment of my life falling asleep, listening to my recording, in the shower, giving the speech, 18 minutes memorized word for word. For a guy that's not that sharp, I'm just like an average guy.
I would disagree with that. I would disagree with that because it's interesting as you walk through it because I watched the speech and I was going to challenge you and be like, I felt like you were very emotionally connected with what you were saying.
So I did 2 talks, and
Yeah.
one they actually took down. My vulnerable come out of
Really?
the yes. My vulnerable come out of the come out to the public with my story. Got taken down last I knew. That talk is overcoming PTSD using dog training techniques.
Yeah.
It's inside on a stage. My other talk is outside. That one's let's treat each other more like dogs. I'm
Yeah.
outside. So
That's
I'm not
the one that I
that's
saw.
the one you saw. So my first one, I don't think you saw. That's the vulnerable one where I went real deep and I talked about the stabbing and some other
Yeah.
stuff.
So, in that second one that was outside, you said dog spelled.
Backwards.
And I really do want to, I was blown away at the suicide rate
Mm.
in the military
Yeah.
for veterans. I was flabbergasted. I was shocked. And I have such a deep rooted respect and passion for our military communities and all the families that I serve. Like, I felt like, I'm like, fuck, dude, how do I not know this? Like, I was offended that I didn't know how bad
You're
it
mad at
was.
yourself.
I was mad at you.
Man,
I
what's wrong with
literally, what the fuck is wrong with you? So when you said like my passion has saved my life, your connection with animals, just kind of share, let's talk about that. Like, how is that?
A gift, man. It's been amazing.
Yeah.
Because like I was talking about how hugging the ex-wife, couldn't feel anything.
Yeah.
Because I was shut off after the war. I was shut off in a variety of ways and definitely emotionally. So for me, I really struggled to have emotions, to have feelings, not be cold. And eventually I started to develop feelings again. And it wasn't for a love interest that someone may think. It was a dog. I could feel it felt safe to love a dog.
Mm.
And I know a lot of people can relate to that. And so, exactly. And why we could talk about too, which is for me, it's interesting. But they taught me how to love again. They helped me not just love again, but on a whole nother level that I didn't even know was possible. Like so many people will say like, oh no, I love my dog more than my husband or my wife or my kids or whatever.
okay, you said you want to dig into this. I want to dig into it. How come I love the wolf. I love the wolf. How come the wolf did what human beings couldn't?
Well, the wolves are giving us. I mean, look, what do we want? Let's face it. It's rough out there.
It is really rough out there.
No, it's rough out there because we let so much noise get in the way of each other and self. And dogs have that stuff figured out because they're just so simple. But then, so we could talk about how they're amazing, but why are we so receptive to them?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's because they're giving us all the things that we are lacking. And what do we as humans love? We want to be heard. We want to be seen. We want to be validated. Show me a dog, unless it's a Shiba Inu, that doesn't give you that when you interact. And that's why people are always like, oh, hi, before they'll even acknowledge you if you had the dog. Because they know they're going to get validated from that dog, maybe not the owner. It also is us keeping a little bit of shield up because this feels more comfortable than this. And that's fucked. I don't like that about
How is
society.
that? Okay. Oh, shit.
Right? It's fucked.
I cannot fucking believe you went there. Okay. How come it's easier and I do it? Like I do it. I'm so guilty of it. If you have a dog around me, I'm just letting you know your dog is getting love first.
Everybody does it except for me and other dog trainers.
It's crazy. How come?
Because I don't know if you're going to accept me when I first meet you, but I know your dog easily will. And I don't want to feel rejected. And you're hard to read. We're pretending. But that dog has a wagging tail and it's flirting with me. It's all like, hey, man, hey. I'm like, cool. So you obviously like you. I'm like, I don't know what is going on here. You're just kind of like not smiling. Do you think I'm cool? Do you want to interact? I could read that.
Got it.
I could read that.
Got
That
it.
feels comfortable. That's easy to know where you're at. Right? And so then the default setting, put the hand out. No, that's the wrong way, by the way, to meet a dog. We could talk about that too. Because we want to be heard, seen, and validated. And then how do dogs show up for us? Enthusiasm, which we love it. Like think about not like over the top annoying enthusiastic person, but a person that comes with enthusiasm that shows you that they're excited to see you. Man, that feels good.
Yes.
And I struggle with it because I'm pretty chill guy, but then I can do that too. Depends on the environment. But man, that feels good to get that validation. So they give us that. And they immediately accept us. They're like, oh, I don't care if you smell. Don't care if you have deodorant. Don't care what kind of cologne or perfume you have on. I don't care what you're wearing. Doesn't matter. I don't care if you're in swim trunks, you're in a suit. I'm going to jump on you if you're in the most dapper suit or swim trunks. They don't care. They don't see none of that, right? They don't see that.
What do they see?
Energy.
What is there? Oh.
Energy.
Oh, shit.
And who you really are, they see through it.
So you think dogs can sense like your true intentions of who you are?
Yes. I have a celebrity client that I travel to go see every month. And one of the staff that is at this person's property every day, this person has 2 dogs, and one of his dogs will avoid this staff member,
Really?
and tremble. And so, and I've been going there for 2 years or so now, every month for about a week. So I've gotten to know everyone really well. So eventually, the client and his wife. So the wife, it was like, hey, why does my dog do this with this staff member? And I said, well, yeah, I downplayed it. Well, then next month goes and I was like, the energy's off. Kind of downplayed it. Then she asked me again. And I said, do you really want me to tell you? Because it's not comfortable to hear. She's like, yeah, tell me, right? It's like, okay. I said, he has something attached to him, the staff member. I was like, he has an entity attached to him. That's why your dog's avoiding him. Your dog is in tune, very in tune with humans. and he's very sensitive. This is a sensitive soul, this dog, and he's in tune with everything around. And I'm like, that guy has something attached to him. She's like, that's crazy. You just said that. She said, I was talking to him and he told me that for a college research paper, he had to do research about some type of witchcraft, some type of black magic kind of stuff. And it had to also do with his culture. And when he did it, he felt something in him shift and he had nightmares and yada, yada, yada.
Oh.
Now, here's what's also interesting about that. They have two dogs. One, lazy dog, very independent. If they were in the room with us, the one would be over there, chilling, not caring. The one that's sensitive to the energy, in tune with the humans, is going to be right here next to us, being in the vibe. The other one doesn't care. So is he in tune or care about that weird energy or whatever? No, he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care. He's over there. He's not in tune. Therefore, it doesn't affect him. The other dog, shaking. I got to get away. Crazy, right?
It sounds far-fetched, but I know it's not.
Oh yeah, sounds super far-fetched to, yeah, most people, I forget how most people play. Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Like, because there's been, so I couldn't have a dog when I was a kid, not allowed, because my mom does not do animals whatsoever. The cool thing is, like, my youngest has I got freaking crocodile hunter in my house. This kid has every animal. And I don't know what it is about dogs. Oh my goodness, I love them. Like, literally, give me a dog. Freaking, and I'm like, dogs can sense. Like your real intentions, because I've never, even with a ferocious dog, I'm never concerned. You know, now I would never pet someone's dog that, you know, their owner, like, you got to be respectful. At the same exact point, I think the energy that you give off, never had a dog lunge at me or anything like that, because I'm like, dude, I freaking, like, I got love.
And if you're confident and you're not over the top with them too, like with most, like, for fearful dogs, aggressive dogs, if you're confident, you're not over the top, you're helping set the environment, the tone, the energy, the vibe, whatever you want to call it, for everything's all good. Yeah. But we tend to meet the animal in their place rather than be the leader, be the guide, and show the animal to meet you where you're at. But we tend to overcompensate when we see them in that kind of trauma state or that kind of stuff. But yeah, I hear you, man, that stuff can sound kind of weird. I guess for me, I'm just so used to it because, you know, I've done it for so long. I mean, this is all I've known my whole adult life, man.
Well, I agree. And what was it that you learned in the Army, you know, because you were dealing with elite, you know, at that point. Right. So what was it that made you think, like, hey, I'm done. I've served my country. I got shit. Fucking, they left me with a lot of gifts that I'm going to work through for a while. I'm going to do this for a living. I'm gonna start World of Dog Training.
Yeah, well, it kind of played out like that. So let's see. Went into the Army in 2000. In 2002, I went to military working dog school, got certified as a dog handler. And the greatest gift that I learned in that was always trust your dog.
Okay.
And the reason why, and so this is especially relevant, well, in many things, but especially when we're having a dog do detection, search for bombs, drugs, whatever.
Oh shit, is that what you did?
Yeah. So the way it works is you start off as a drug dog handler, and then if you do well, you graduate and you become an explosive dog handler. They don't start you with bombs, blowing stuff up, right? You got to first...
You got to graduate?
Yeah, you got to graduate, show a little proficiency. You got to find a couple kilos, a couple metric tons. And
you got to go through the rough stages.
Yeah,
I got you.
Exactly. So yeah, I did the explosive dog thing, and then, which was cool. Worked with like Secret Service because they would contract us out, or however, like when POTUS or SecDef or whatever comes into town. At the time, back then, like 2004 or whatever, there's not always explosive dogs around. And so they would just have us go and do the searches for them. So that was kind of fun. And then a tasking came down when I was at Fort Carson, Colorado. they needed 2 dog handlers to go overseas. And everybody in our kennels, all the dog handlers had all deployed, everybody. So myself and this other guy volunteered to go. We didn't know where we were going. And so literally I deployed with just my dog and I, and that handler and his dog. And then I remember we were in an evergreen plane stripped out with cargo. And then we could literally see the pilots 10 feet in front of us, no door. And we were just talking to the pilots on the way. And the crazy part is we thought we were going to die before even getting to combat because we had to emergency land because we started to lose our oxygen supply over Turkey. It was crazy.
Well, thank goodness you were over Turkey. Holy shit.
Yeah. Well, they actually denied us. The international airport told us we couldn't land. So we had to go to the Air Force base in Turkey, and they allowed us to land there. So that was crazy. But my buddy and I, we were like, bro, we're going to die before we even get to war?
This sucks. What were you guys thinking? Were you cracking jokes?
We were yeah, because it's like military humor. So we're like, fuck this. We're going to eat the pilot's food because they packed us like lunches and shit, and they were off to the side. So we were going to eat the cookies. We're like, oh, we're going to emotionally eat through this motherfucker. That's what we did, man. It's the Italian way.
So did you,
oh man,
the dog that you took?
Oh yeah.
How long were you with that dog? Like, do you stay with one dog the whole time?
Okay, so dogs are assigned to like a unit.
Yeah.
So when I was at Fort Carson, Colorado,
okay,
I deployed with Zito. And then when Zito and I were done with our deployment, Zito and I came back early because Zito got injured. He didn't get blown up or didn't get shot.
Okay.
He couldn't perform, I'd say. His leg and stuff would just be like messed up. It was weird. I think it was called DLS, degenerative lumbosacrocynosis. So his spine started to deteriorate. It started to impact his limbs, and he would start to do this, stand on the top of his paw. Yeah, and like, you can't be doing that shit in combat.
Yeah.
So after 7 months, we came home, and I forgot. Sorry, what was your question?
Well, yeah, it was just Zito. Yeah,
so
what happened?
You said, do we stay together? Sorry. So then I was due to get out of the military. So Zito then stays, and he gets another handler.
Oh shit.
Yeah, a lot of civilians don't realize that the dogs are literally property of that company commander at that unit.
I gotcha.
So when the new handler comes in, if there's an open dog, you take this dog, and then that's your assigned dog. And then when you're due to leave, it's for me, it's messed up. It should be you stay as a team, because when you move, you gotta get to know another dog. It's not proficient. It's not efficient.
Do you see what I mean? The reason why I was asking, there's got to be a bond that's.
Unfortunately, we're all just a number. Us as soldiers, them as dogs.
Yeah.
That is a weapon. That is a tank. That is a whatever. That's just the harsh truth, man. And it's ownership, it's line item. But I'm with you, man. The bond and all that stuff, especially in the war. I remember, just Zito was, oh God, he was my therapist in war.
Oh, I could 1000% imagine, because you're very in tune. I've seen you in action.
I wasn't then, though. I wasn't
really?
then. No.
Okay.
Here's what's interesting. A lot of people, one thing I'm not is like, I won't give you fake.
Thank you.
People will be like, oh, you did you work with Secret Service and Special Forces. We did that too overseas. Because the way it works is a unit would call the kennels and be like, hey, we're going on a raid. We're going on a whatever. We need a dog team. So we would work with infantry or random Special Forces units. New guys every time. So we didn't get to bond. So imagine going into a different combat zone every time with guys you never worked with before. That was what we did. It was tough, man, because you had no rapport, and here you are. You have to trust one another. So anyways, that was super crazy. I forget my point. Dang it, I lost it, but it was going to be a good one. You had said
just the whole cohesion of how do you make it work with the bond that you have with the dog.
I was talking about not being fake.
Yeah.
You had talked about the bond. I only learned so much training military working dogs. Can I train a dog from that to attack? Yes. To rip someone out of a building or a car? Yes. To search for a bomb or drugs? Yes.
Right.
But did I know about the bond?
Oh,
no.
shit.
Did I know about reading dogs? Like any dog? No. Why though? Because again, I don't want to fool people. When they hear, I did military stuff with dogs, wow, 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 it's not that impressive. I only worked 4 different dogs in those, what was it, 4 years? Okay. That's only 4 different beings. You only met 4 people. Do you know all fucking people? No, you're still knowing what's up. But once I became a civilian and worked with thousands of pet dogs, now I'm like, no, I know dogs. I got this stuff figured out. So then I didn't. I didn't. I didn't have it figured out. And I've grown massively as a civilian pet dog trainer, training thousands of dogs, because now it's not just about seeing patterns, reading body language. Now, bro, it's like I could feel the freaking energy. And I'm like, sounds freaking crazy, but I'm like, yeah, your dog, I'm supposed to tell you this message, yada, yada, it has to do with your childhood. I legit can channel like spiritual, intuitive shit. But it started from this very basic level, and it's just evolved the more I've worked on myself inside and out.
You know, Brian, when you talk about being in tune and the emotional connection and being able to hear what the dog is trying to say, 2, 3 years ago, if you would have shared that with me, I would have said,
Yeah.
no chance.
Yeah.
And I think the hardest part was if you don't really dig into your own spirituality and, you know, faith and belief and purpose, it's really hard to connect with that.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you. And I think that as we evolve and grow, the messages change and what we hear, even though the same words were said. But for me, I'm always like this. Hey, I don't like to talk about what I can do with a dog. Give me one and let me just show you. And the magic will speak for itself, man. Again, it's not me. It's just, I'm just the messenger. But I'm super grateful, and it's fun to have that. I call it a dance.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I'm gonna push back a little bit and say it is you, because it's you that's bonding. You know, it's you, because you're the one that's bonding and connecting, and I've seen that connection. So, I saw you in action, and that's where I saw that. I'm like, oh shit, like you're on point with what you were doing. And then you also said something that really, really helped me understand. You're like, hey, I'm not inexpensive. I don't apologize for it. This is basically, and how do I distinguish? Like, I think since COVID, a lot has changed with the connections that we have, especially with dogs. Like, there's a lot of families I know that got dogs during COVID. How should I go about selecting the right trainer for my family? Because the way I look at it, the dog that I have is not a dog. He's family.
Yeah.
Like, he's family. Like, I love him immensely.
And that's
What are
part
your
of,
thoughts?
and that's part of why it's hard to ask for help with that family member. Here's what's,
what?
100%.
No, you did not.
We did.
Okay, how come? I haven't heard this before. This is news to me. How come it's hard?
Because you're admitting that your family member, your dog, is flawed. Here's what's so interesting. All the dog trainers listening, because I know you have some on your network, are going to laugh and nod at their head when I say this next thing. Time and time again, someone will say, I'm experiencing blank with my dog. Some type of aggression, say. So for example, my dog continues to bite my child when he runs down the hallway, but he's a really good boy. They will always either start or follow up with he or she is a good girl, good boy, because they're calling out their family member and it feels uncomfortable. Our job as dog trainers is we got to say what's what. I always say this, I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And I care so much that I don't care.
Oh, okay. I care so much that I don't care.
Right. I don't care if I hurt your feelings.
Okay.
I only care about helping the dog. I only care about helping you. Don't care what's going to get in the way. Right? Because we want to protect like emotions and feelings and all this other stuff to stay comfortable. I'm like, fuck, I can't help you there. We got to get
How come you're taking this approach instead of the very PC approach? Like, hey, let me. How come you're taking a different approach?
Oh, because the other one doesn't shift lives as much. The other one, I think, is we're not truly working through stuff.
What are we doing?
Oh, we're tiptoeing around truth.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just like raw, real, again, vulnerable stuff. Now, and part of it's my military side. Part of
Yeah.
it's the hard side. But I'm equally soft. I'm equally soft with the stuff. I'm kind of like I'm doing what needs to happen for that situation environment because I'm like, look, you keep doing the same thing, nothing's going to change. We need to boom, do something different. I need to stir it up. And I like to disrupt because I can get result quicker this way also. But to justify or yada yada, and I'm also like I want to be called out as well. Like if I'm
Okay.
not being real with self or yada yada, like I'm open, man. Like I'm trying to show up, I'm trying to do the right thing, and I want others to do the same. And so I'm like, let's all just do our part and be good people, right? And I think that's part of it. Is for me, I need to do the right thing by speaking up because I know. I hate to say it, but like I know better just because, like with whatever you do, whatever you've done something thousands and thousands of times, you're the authority and you need to speak up. You owe it to them. But why with the approach? Like it works and it's part of it's my style. But again, it's super gentle. I always say, dog decides, not me. And what I see with the person will help me feel. It's weird. Like I remember this one woman, I don't know why she came to mind, but her husband was really hard on her. I could feel it. And I just got there. I could just feel it in the air. And she wasn't like in her power because he would diminish her without me even knowing. I could just feel it, man. Like it was my first time I got there. And I was next thing you know, I'm doing like some Tony Robbins empowerment. And I'm like, no, like, I was like, why your dog's doing this stuff? Why are you not saying anything? She's like, well, I just said it. I'm like, and again, sometimes I just get these downloads, man, from higher power. Sounds crazy to some maybe, but I get these messages and I'm like, I'm just supposed to tell you this. I'm like, it's time you start speaking up. I was like, stop not saying your truth. Stop biting your tongue. If your dog is doing the things you don't want, I'm going to show you how to fix it. You got to speak up. But I said, this isn't about the dog. I know you're doing this with everything else in your life. And she's fucking crying. And I'm like, I'm not here for like, I'm not here as your dog trainer. I'm here for way much more, to like give you the opportunity to see your cycles you keep doing in life and to fucking change it like that. That's why I'm actually in front of you. But dogs just give me the opportunity to do it. But not everybody's open and willing. So
Holy shit.
yeah.
Wow. But, as you were walking through that story, what I realized is that our dogs, when they're in our family, they get to see all our good, they get
Right.
to see all our bad, and they don't speak up.
Right.
They speak up like, think about what a phenomenal communicators they are, that they do all of that without, got the rough. But other than that, like they're emotionally intelligent.
They are, and they do speak up when we pay attention to the signs.
They have a different language.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's interesting.
Mm-hmm. It's nonverbal.
Yeah,
so
it is nonverbal. It's fucking crazy that you were walking through that.
So what they'll do is, and so we don't think about it, but they'll go and come up to us and just sniff us or just stand. It's like a human with that hand on the lap. Hey, I'm here for you. We don't think about it. Oh, did you want a treat? Man, because that's where your head goes to. That's because you're doing the Italian grandma thing.
Yeah.
But if we just stop talking so much and we just start observing our animal, for me, I'm a dog nerd. So for me, it's fascinating, but you'll be amazed. Like, for example, there was like, hey, yeah, and people are like a little mild argument. Maybe you hear the dog sigh. They're telling you what to do. The dog legit is reminding you.
Amen.
Find your breath, man. I'm telling you, if like people will just start observing their dog more, because they're way more in tune than we are.
Well, here's the question: when do you bond the most? When are you the most present with your dog?
Morning.
Like, what are you
He
guys
sleeps.
doing?
He sleeps in bed with me,
Okay.
and he'll. First of all, my dog's not allowed to wake me up. He's not allowed to demand that I get out of bed
Yeah.
because then he's running the show.
Right.
He sleeps in bed with me, but it didn't start that way.
Okay.
He started as a puppy and he was in a kennel, then a dog run, and he gained freedom by showing me he's responsible.
Interesting.
So I don't like misleading people. Zeus didn't start with on my couch, on my bed. No, he earned it by showing he's responsible.
Interesting.
He earned it. That's important. Okay. You don't just give. Society just gives too much to dogs without dog earning. Give them an incredible life, but make sure they work for it, because the animal, there's science behind it. The animal, and humans too, don't want to just be given stuff. They actually want to work for it. It feels better.
Oh, I have the best question for you. Oh, wow. Okay. Have you ever gone to a house with a family and you saw the dog behaving like the kids?
Like, it's always.
Is it mimic?
However the kids are, it's how the dog is, however the dog is, how the kids are.
No.
Guaranteed.
Because they have the same parents.
Exactly.
Holy shit.
It's the same lack of structure, the same lack of boundaries, or the strict. Here's what also is fun. Dog trainers, I know you can relate. In a dynamic couple,
Interesting.
90% of the time, you're going to have one control freak and one enabler, and they're going to argue as a couple. And you can tell who's who and which is what. Now, sometimes the male's the enabler and sometimes the female. It doesn't matter. It changes. Quite often, it's the male that's the enabler. For people that seek out dog training as a client, the male's the enabler, make excuses. He's the soft one. The woman is in her masculine. She's the alpha, and she's running the show.
Interesting. I can see that. I'm a softie with my dog. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then
he's perfect. I won't say that around him anymore.
And then, so you asked how we wake up. So then I'm like, so he's laying next to me, and then I'll shift, and then he'll get up, and then he'll look at me.
Okay.
And we'll look into each other's eyes, and then I'll go like this, and then he'll put his paws on my chest, and he'll stretch, and then I go like this, and I just love on his head there, his muzzle, look in his eyes, and then I'll talk about the day, and I'll talk about my gratitude for him. And then that's how I wake up. That's how I start my day. And that's probably our greatest bonding time. But another bonding time is when I get to see him run freely because he doesn't need a leash.
Oh.
So when I get to see my dog run freely.
Skills, baby. No leash.
Yeah, any dog trainer can do that. That's normal.
Well, my dog is not a leash.
No, that's common. 4 lessons,
Yeah.
4 to 6 lessons. We get most everybody off leash. The dogs, not the people. That's super common.
Do you teach me that trick with me?
I think you were going to say something. But man, watching a dog run freely off leash rather than being tied like a prisoner.
Oh, I know.
That's why they need to be trained so they can have more freedom.
Oh.
But I just love watching my boy run freely as fast as he can with his mouth open, smiling. For me, that's bonding too. That's one of the most beautiful pieces of art to me that exist. That's when you know you're a dog nerd right there.
You know what? Like Ryan, not in a million years would I have expected this episode to go in this direction, because we're talking about life. We're not talking about
how to get a dog to sit.
Do you see what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with it, you know? And I think if I was, I'm approaching your profession very, very differently today, because I was looking at hiring a commodity.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to hire a dog trainer.
Right.
When in reality, you're not a dog trainer. You're like a family therapist / it will make your quality of life better.
Right. But the standard that's out there is just the commodity. That's why I interview people before I'll work with them, and I'm super selective, and it's different because I did the other way, man. And
what is wrong with what are the pros and cons with what you see out there in your industry that you want to make better?
It's interesting you say that, because I have a show concept that's related to dog training that I'm feeling kind of excited and a little bit of inspired and motivation to pursue, because I think we need to do some things differently. But anyways, so overall, people have a problem. My dog is usually pulling on the leash, barking at things on the leash, right? And they're like, this is the problem. Solution is find a dog trainer. And they view us all as the same, but it's not, right? It's just not. And so generally speaking, the more you spend, the higher quality trainer you'll get. But you could find a dog trainer for a $50 a lesson, and they're going to give you their cookie cutter approach, very much from the head, very much McDonald's automated kind of thing, broadly speaking. And by the way, there's a lot of great dog trainers out there, and there's dog trainers far better than I am. I don't say I'm the best dog trainer, and I don't even care to be, but I can guarantee results, and like I can get results. That's what I'm here for. But yeah, man, I think that it's a reflection of where we're at. So when I was doing like the commodity dog training, if you will, I was doing like 10 appointments a day. I was making really good money. But at that point, I was like the ER doc or whatever. You got 15 minutes, if you will, and then boom, you're done. It was, for me, it was give them an hour. I could feel it in my body. I knew when an hour was up, lesson's done, next person, boom, turn them and burn them. Did we get results? Yes. Did I connect with my people? Did I have those conversations of like, this is why I'm here? No, there was no time for it. So as I worked on myself, brother, like that's when I was like, dog training's cool, but like, it's kind of boring. I care more about helping the people. So let me go deeper. But I did the other stuff. It didn't fill my heart and soul. It made me a lot of money. It was great for my ego. But I want my ego to die more and more each day, man.
You want your ego to die more and more each day. How does that serve you?
Humility and being grounded. I think that when I'm coming from my ego, I'm not always acting out of a place of my highest self or what's best for me. I'm doing it for the wrong reasons. And so by letting my ego die, I'm not doing things for a spotlight or anything else. I'm doing it because it feels good. It's the right thing to do. I'm helping someone.
I love your cause. Like, and to hear, this is the part that blows my mind. It doesn't matter what you do when you make people, in your case, the wolf at the center of your world, like you're fucking happy.
Mm-hmm.
You're really happy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't walk around me, Brian, and be like, man, this guy's putting on a show. He's not really, like, deep down inside, he's got some shit that he's dealing with, and like, it's salvation. Like, do you ever see yourself stopping doing this?
Yeah. At some point.
Really?
Yeah. I'm working on doing the franchise thing.
Yeah.
So I had 7 territories. I'm wanting to build that more because I can only help so many people and so many dogs myself. So I am working on like ways to automate everything. I'm also creating like online course and doing some other kind of fun stuff, trying to leverage some tech that I have in the back of my mind. But eventually, yeah, I want to create something that just runs itself, just sharing the system and then empowering others to go out and serve in their community. But ultimately, man, I have like digital resources and I want to share them with every single shelter in the world, or at least in the US. So everyone that adopts a dog gets my book and my online dog training videos for free. No, I don't want any money. I just want to make sure that dog doesn't go back to a shelter because it's not trained. So like, I'm definitely committed to that. And so I'm legitimately investing thousands of dollars into the tech to be able to do that, to get that out to all the shelters.
I love your cause, and you're also doing the free stuff, which I think, like you said, I've made the money, and that wasn't the right direction. I got a lot of respect for not commoditizing something that you love.
Right. And again, I don't like to mislead. I make good money training some celebrities.
Well, of course, yeah.
And
but that's earned, though. That's
Yes.
not like, do you know what I mean? Like, you could tell your connection, that's, you're paying for your ability.
Yeah. And for that, I believe in the dualities of life. And so for me, it's so important. Like, how do I give back to the people that can't afford that? Because it's about the people and the dogs at that point. So I'm really excited about getting that out. That feels better than most anything, honestly, is just knowing that there's this resource out there for anyone, and just it feels good. It feels free to give it away for free.
I get see it feels good. What about the military community? You talked about like how dogs healed and saved you, and we'll put the link to your TEDx where you talk about the bond. What about in that regard? Like, what is it that dogs can do for the veteran community? Like, is there a program that's out there that you highly promote? Like, what's your vision with that?
So right now, I have a pin in World of Dog Training Cares.
Okay.
So the vision for that would be, as my locations grow, is to have like rescue a dog, and then each location will put some imprinting behavior, some training, if you will, on the dog, and then we would give it away for free
Yes.
to vets. So that's something that's in the works. But there's a lot of really great service dog organizations. Sadly, there's not really enough available dogs for those that need them. So that's definitely a gap that we need
How
to
come?
figure out and fill, because it takes time to train the service animal would be one
Gotcha.
piece.
Okay.
And, I would imagine funding. Also, you need the right fit. You need the right dog to be able to do the work. And there's probably just not enough trainers able to turn out enough dogs to get them prepared. But I know that that's something that we need to do a better job. But I would say this, because you asked, like, how can the dogs serve vets? And this works for anyone. And that is just looking at how you show up for that dog with that love, that kindness, that openness,
Mhm.
and start doing that to the people around you. Because, excuse me, we're all at different journeys or different levels or stages in the journey. And for me, just to express myself to another human, oh, I love you, was a big deal. Right. And so wherever someone's at in their journey, not everyone is at the same spot. And so, like, say for the vet, that's where I was, just out of the combat, say, and not having the feelings, is if you have that dog, work on that feeling, that love, that emotion with the dog, and then start to share that with others around you, because they deserve it. And so do you. You deserve to have that too, for someone just starting out. And then for those that are evolved in their journey, man, I think it's about gaining mastery at something that you're passionate about. And then you need to share that with the world and become really good. You don't have to be the best, but become really fucking good at it, and then share it with the world. And so again, like I said, I don't claim to be the best, man, but I feel confident to say I'm pretty fucking good, and I'm willing to show it. Give me any dog. If anyone has a difficult dog that they've been to multiple dog trainers, which I get often, please give me the opportunity. Just give me the opportunity. I don't even care about the money. Just let me take that tough dog and show you what's possible when we do things a little bit different. Sometimes it's the small detail, man.
The blue ocean strategy. It is. You got to do things. If you want to stand out, you got to do things different. Brian, you definitely roll different, bro. Good for you. I love it. This was, I could have, very few times of my speechless. This was absolutely incredible. It gave me a lot of insight that helped open up my eyes in regards to, like, how do you actually go someone and have them help improve, like, your family dynamic? Because it's not about a dog training. It really is about, like, dogs are a part of our families.
100%.
They really are. Like, I think we adore them. The amount of money that we spend on surgeries and all these things,
Yep.
and then the passion, like the care. It's mind blowing, the care that you see out there.
And I'm
Crazy.
glad we have it, because they deserve it, because they do so
Yes.
much for us, for sure.
1000%. I mean,
sure.
that title is well earned.
For sure.
A man's best friend. In the last 12 months, what's something that you're proud of that you've learned, overcome, that's made Ryan better?
Communication with my family. Unrelated to dog training, right? But it's not.
Yeah.
Because then that impacts your business, impacts your everyday life. No, man, I've learned to have, like, how to have really healthy conflict resolution, and how to have uncomfortable conversations and feel really great after it on both sides. That's been feeling really good lately. And doing more with media, like movies and TV stuff, in the backdrop. So that's feeling really exciting too, and I'm feeling really proud of that. Again, it's not about the spotlight. It's about what that opportunity or spotlight does to be able to help and see the masses.
For you, it's about the connections, man.
Yeah,
You can tell.
It's just about helping more.
No doubt. No doubt. So as this project comes to manifest itself, we're going to have to extend another invite so you can share on our stage.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
About
I'm
this.
excited. There's a couple of things. One is feeling really certain. Then there's two other ones, and I don't know which way I'm going to go, but I'm feeling really excited about it. And recently, like just last week, there was an invention that I had that I let sleep like 4 years ago because technology wasn't available to make it happen. But this has to do with every single dog in America, this technology. And I had a really good meeting recently about it. So I may wake that back up. So that is something I'm super, super excited about as well. I can't say too much, but it has to do with every single dog would have this technology.
There's no doubt. I think if you put your mind to it, man, you're a ferocious guy, and I love what you're doing. I love your passion and purpose. We're gonna put Ryan Matthews. We're gonna put all your contact information. And man, thank you so much for joining us, dropping all that knowledge. And you gotta. He's already said, like, if you got that dog, this is your guy. What do you got to lose? You know what I mean? You got nothing to lose.
Yeah, and let's hook your audience up with some swag, some gifts, some something, right? We got to give them some stuff, right?
Done. We'll drop some comments, and we're definitely going to have Ryan back. This has been absolutely fun, man. I'm so glad that I waited on some of these questions, just because, like, digging in and getting to know you better in a heartbeat. I don't even care what your costs are. Like, you know what I mean? It just makes sense that you pay for what you get.
Yeah. Dog training is super simple. But back to the audience, man. I definitely want to gift my book. So
Done.
we can, however we want to give them a link, or they can send me an email. But for sure, I want to make sure that everybody gets my book that wants it.
We'll put the link in the bio. So if you're interested in getting Ryan's book, like I said, we're going to work on having him as a regular. I'm just really, really glad that, you drove all the way down. We had a great conversation. And then last but not least, who do you want to thank as we sign off? Who makes your life better?
Well, I'm not going to pick one if that's okay. I have a hard time going.
No, not one.
I want to thank
Throw it out there.
I want to thank you for not thank you for the opportunity. No, thank you for the legit conversation, the flow. Thanks for holding the space for me to, go through our little ups and downs. And, it was a little rough at times, but we got through it. I think it was great. And I enjoyed the conversation. Not all interviews are the same. So I really enjoyed it. So thank you. And then I got to thank my grandmother, who was really big in shaping who I am, especially since she just had her 92nd birthday yesterday. And I'm grateful I was able to spend a small part of it with her.
Yeah, man, it was, that was great. And there was no bad parts, because like you said, this is what an amazing way to bond with someone, get to know them. I mean, this is what it's all about. There's so many incredible people, and this platform gives an opportunity to say that. Ryan Matthews.
Thanks, brother.
World of Dog Training, my man.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.